is your host, Robin Steckel. Today, I have an exciting guest for you because I have been following her on Instagram for a while. Her name is Hannah Courtney. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
I love Instagram. I remember when I first started to be interested in Instagram, one of my friends from Tennessee actually was up here. She was addicted to TikTok. And I thought, I am never going to be addicted to TikTok and spending 3 hours looking through these weird things. Well, sure enough, Instagram has Reels, which is
hmm
just about the same as TikTok and just as addicting, by the way. And I came across one of your Reels. It was November 17th, I believe, is what the reel says. And what caught my eye was that you were a plus size girl like I am, and you had a 20-minute mile. And your reel started with 20 minutes and then you were progressing. And I thought, I'm a 20-minute miler and I'm progressing, although not quite as well as you were. And I started following you from there. But that's not the only reason I started following you, is also because you're a book lover and
hmm
you like to be outside as much as I do.
Yes. Yeah. So that reel, okay, so I have the Instagram and the TikTok. And TikTok, I have like I'm on there a lot more. My Instagram is still like a mixture of sort of like wellness journey and books, but TikTok is a more just wellness journey. But that reel, like that's my first reel. It has like 12,000 views right now. And it's my first, like, to me, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot of views. I still every day I'm getting followers from it, has like almost 500 likes. So, like I was seeing people on social media be like, "Oh, I'm just a small fry," and they've got like 65,000 followers. So to me, I'm like, "No, I am a small fry," and this is like mind blowing to me. But yeah, I just I made that reel not, and I did not expect it to like take off, but I wanted to show people that what different paces look like and what different progresses look like. Because when you look on TikTok or on Instagram for slow runners, they're like 14-minute miles, 15-minute miles. And I was
I
getting
know.
so,
And I'm
yeah,
like, that's not slow.
I know. I was getting so frustrated because I'm like, so what you're telling me is I'm like the slowest of the slow. Like I don't there's not a place for me. So I don't know. It was just important for me because I know that there are other people out there who have paces that are similar to mine, who have journeys similar to mine. And if there's not a space that I can find like where I can fit in, like with somebody else, that I'm gonna make it. So I don't know, like I'm glad that people are relating to it. It makes me feel less alone, and I hope it makes them feel less alone because our 20-minute miles, like those are valid. Those count. Like people on TikTok, they keep saying running is a motion. And so I'm like, yes, like we are doing that motion. We are running. And then like there are some people who were like, no, you don't, it doesn't count as running if you walk. Yes, it does. Yes, it
It
does.
absolutely
Yes.
does.
And so, yeah, I think it's interesting that that's the one that like went off. But yeah, so right now I am working on like maintaining for a longer time the 1708 pace. And so I'm getting a little bit better and a little bit better like every time I do it. But yeah, I mean, and I didn't start walking and tracking and everything until June. And I went back because when I posted that video like that day, I was like, man, 20 minutes, like I just want to be faster. And so, like, a lot of times when I post things, I post them for like other people to relate to, but also to remind myself of things. And so I went back and looked and I started at like a 26, 28-minute mile, like in my walking. So then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so that was in June. So it hasn't even been 6 months. And now my like comfortable pace is 20 minutes a mile. And
Mhm.
my like stretching is the 1708. I'm trying to my comfy pace. But so thank you for watching and following.
Yeah, I really related to it because in previous podcasts too, I've talked about trying to be a runner, not trying to be a runner, being a runner, not trying to be a runner. And my previous co-host, who was on the podcast for a couple of years with me, she too wanted to be a runner. And we kept thinking we just want to be runners. We don't know why we want to be runners, but we want to be runners. And she would always say, I would run to the next mailbox and then I'd run to the next street post or yeah, light post. And we could never really figure out why we wanted to be runners. I guess we thought it was fun. And
Mm-hmm.
for years, we
Mm-hmm.
thought this isn't fun at all. And just
Yeah.
recently did I come into, I guess, trail running or being
Uh-huh.
hiking more. I didn't realize being outdoors was really my overall joy and how much I loved
Yes.
it. And this
Mm-hmm.
past April, I was down in Arizona, ended up doing a trail. I did a walk jog, but it doesn't matter. A
Mm-hmm.
4 mile with Aravaipa. I don't know if you've heard of Aravaipa running.
I haven't. I'll have to look them up though.
You would, yes, they have some really great virtual events.
Oh,
So in
nice.
the meantime, I'm out there and I was like, I don't like all these rocks because I'm used to a treadmill or streets. But I thought, you know what? I think I'm gonna like doing these like walk jogs out on trails. And I came home from Arizona and I was like, yeah, I really like it. I did a couple around here that were, I had walked them before, but never ran them or jogged them. And so I started doing that and I thought, well, I really like it. Well, as I continued to progress, there was a group that was doing a challenge this past November. And a part of it was doing a 12:30 mile. So 12 minutes, 30 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
which is like 4.8 on the treadmill. And I thought, I can't like I struggle walking at 3.3 miles an hour. I mean, my little legs are flying. So I thought, oh, there's no way I can do this. And somebody had posted, well, I'm going to run down this really big hill. And I thought, oh, I can put my treadmill at a -6 grade, hang on for dear life and just make my little legs go. It's just 1 mile. I know I can do it. And I did do it, and I didn't hold on the entire time, which I was shocked. So that goes towards your comment about progress. And
Mm-hmm.
here, a limiting belief is I can't run a 12:30. Yes, I held on to the bars on the treadmill for a while, but then you start exploring what other paces, even if it's for 30 seconds or one
Yep.
minute or intervals, which is again another reason that I was really interested in your reel was because it was the 20-minute mile and then the 17-minute mile. And how have you found that has made you progress as you have? What do you contribute that to?
So, okay, I'm gonna like back it up just a little bit back to what
Yeah.
you were saying about running and like trying to figure out like why you want to run, why you know, like this or that for running, because I think it ties into that. So, a little bit more background on me, which I talk a lot about this on TikTok. I haven't, again, like I haven't really migrated everything over to Instagram just yet, but a year ago, I was 380 pounds. And a year ago, if anyone would have told me, hey, you would be walking these trails by yourself, or you would be running, or I did a 5K on October 19th. Like if somebody had been like, hey, you're going to do a 5K, you're going to fall in love with it, you're going to sign up for all these races, I wouldn't have believed them because, you know, when I don't, immobile is not the right word to use, or I'll just say like maybe mobility issues. Like when you're so overweight and heavy, you don't move. Like I think something that people who maybe don't necessarily deal with weight issues don't think of is it's like, okay, I can think about how much I want to do this, but my body doesn't necessarily let me do that. And so in February of this year, I went on a GLP-1. And so, like that, yeah, combined with like diet and exercise, I've been able to lose some weight. And so in June is when I started walking, and then July is when I started running. So in July, I could barely do 30 seconds at a time, and that was my goal. So out of my whole mile, I wanted to do like two 30-second intervals of running. And I remember the first time I did it, I was like looking around to make sure no one else was there because I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know what I was going to look like doing it. I didn't know how long I could do it for. So I was like so self-conscious about it. And so, yeah, I remember the very first time I could barely do 30 seconds. And I just kept doing it and I just kept doing it. And so, for me, the joy of running, and I think contributing to the reason why I make any progress is because every single time I run, I remember what a blessing it is that I'm able to do that movement. And to think back a year ago when I was at my heaviest weight, how I would not have been able to do that. Every single time I run, for me, is so much joy. Does it hurt? Yeah. Is it always like, like la 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 la? No. But every single time I run, I'm like, this movement, my body loves this movement. It loves being able to do this movement and how thankful I am that I can do it. So, yeah, I honestly think more so than weight loss, the running has helped me fall in love with my body in a way that I've never fallen in love with my body before. And it's not, it's so mind blowing to me because I'm 34. So for my entire life until I was 33 when I started the GLP-1, like all that, I always thought your happiness or my happiness was tied up with what you look like or what your weight was. But for me, I learned that it's not any of that. It is what my body can do and what I can do with my body and how I treat it. So yeah, I love getting out there either on the treadmill or I'm so lucky where I live. There are so many trails, like paved trails, dirt trails, wooded trails, like whatever you want to go to. Like I can just within, I would say 10 minutes from my house. So I don't even have to go very far. I have all these great places. So I can pick whatever I want to do that day, just go out there or downstairs if it's a treadmill. And I'm able to do something that my body wasn't able to do before. So, yeah, like you were saying before, when you're like, oh, okay, I have done this. What more can I do? Like, and so that's always my game that I kind of play with myself. I'm like, okay, you've accomplished this. What else can you do? And so I don't know. I really just think falling in love with myself through running is what gives me kind of the motivation to continue making progress, to continue pushing myself towards progress. And I know that was a very long, rambling answer, but there's just been like so many different like parts of everything coming together to get to where I am. So,
It is, and I think it is a huge journey.
mm-hmm,
I feel like people who poo-poo what we're doing or have never had weight loss issues or sorry, weight issues or
mm-hmm,
any of it, who've always been active or who's always been, I've been relatively active, but not what I should have been. And I think that when we find that we're starting to do these things, it's so exciting. One of my friends and I were
mm-hmm,
just recently talking about who would have ever thought we would have signed up for, the 5Ks and the 10Ks and the half marathons, and we're excited to do them and looking forward to it. I signed up for the Mammoth March this year and did not get the full 20 miles in 8 hours. I also did not train for it. 2025 was my year for not training. And yeah, I can tell.
mm-hmm,
But I stayed active. I still had a strength and endurance coach, and I have a registered dietitian. So I work with two different coaches, and I was still being active. They still had me on different plans. And truly, I just felt I just wanted a year off. Typically, I'll be training for 29029, which is an event where you hike up a ski hill, take the gondola down, and hike up it as many times until you
Oh,
reach
wow.
the
Okay.
vertical feet of Mount Everest. I've never come close, by the way. And that doesn't make me sad at all because where I started back in 2021 compared to today is amazing. And I really commend you for putting that out there on TikTok and Instagram because in 2, 3 years, you're going to look back and say, I cannot believe I came this far,
Oh my gosh, yes. That
which
is
is
actually, yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
that's okay. I was just going to say, which is why I also have a spin-off podcast. It was the Consistency Club. And I just look back at some of my previous podcasts and think, even with maintaining where I am for 2025, I've still made significant progress. And you're right. Is it great every day? It's not great every day, but have I been showing up since October on a consistent basis? Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That I find so since you're more experienced with like training and everything than I am, yes, I got sick before like 2 weeks before my 5K. And I was like so mad and so upset, but I was like, okay, I'm still gonna go in and do the best that I can because I had when I started in July all the way to like the 2 weeks before my 5K, I had been like on a training schedule of like, okay, I'm running 3 days a week and then I'm walking the other days. And I have like one day where I like don't go outside. I just stay here. But not having those days where it's like consistent like run days or walk days because I was sick and I couldn't breathe. Yes, the 5K came and I was like, my body says no. But somehow it was crazy because my goal was to do it in an hour and I got like 1 minute under an hour. So I was so excited. So my next 5K is at the end of February. And I'm hoping my goal is like 45-ish minutes, but it's also the Disney princess one. So there's going to be characters. So like that specific one, I'm not like using that as like a pure goal. But I have another one April 25th, another 5K. And that one I am going to be using like to try and PR a goal. So I'm excited for that. And then my first 10K is May 2nd and I'm signed up for a half marathon next October. So I'm like really nervous about it all because when I did after the 5K, I had already signed up for the 10K and I got done with the 5K and I was like, wait, I have to do that double. But I just think it's so much fun. And it's like I don't really care about where I place in
Yeah.
whatever race it is. It's about completing it and enjoying the experience of it.
Mhm.
Especially again, I know I keep harping back to this, but like completing those, it's something I never thought I would do. And I've been very lucky because like with Run Talk and mostly Instagram, um, everyone is so supportive. And so people don't really care about like, oh, you finished, I think it was eighth from last or something in the 5K. But everyone's like, no, you did it. Like, that's great. I have only had two like trolls on Instagram. And I'm like, people, but I just have to laugh. I was like, I know I've made it because this guy over here says, no, that's not running. And I'm like, okay, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come try and ruin mine when you can't. So,
I love that. I love that attitude. I have done a half marathon. I think it was in 2009 or 2012. I don't remember. And it was an awful experience.
oh no.
I didn't train for it. I didn't want to
Mhm.
run. I mean, this whole journey, it's all about the journey. And this
Yeah.
whole journey is so different now. My friends and I went out to Vegas to do the rock and roll running series, and we did the 5K one night and then the 10K another
Mhm.
night. And every time we're done with it, we think, why do we keep signing up for it? And then
Yeah.
the next day comes and we're signed up for something else. And, May, April, June, July, then it was like, oh, well, now I've got the Mammoth March in June. And I'm not, yeah, it's so interesting how we don't want to do it, but then when we're done, we're like, oh, well, we're going to sign up for it again. In 2022, I was at Stratton Mountain for a 29029, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I had trained and I had done the training program, and I'll get back to this in a second because I have a question for you on this. But I did fulfill the training program, did did the event. My goal was to do one ascent out of 17. I ended up doing five. I was injured, but
Mhm.
what I really learned about that
Mhm.
was I didn't care about the end goal. I just cared about what I had done previously and still doing part of the event. And I think a part of that is I find so much more enjoyment in the journey than I do what the overall end goal is.
Mhm.
So when I just did a 10K in November here in Madison, and you got done and you're like, but then you think about, well, gosh, what led me up here? Again, didn't train for it, but I was still consistent. And
Mhm.
I just think back like, oh, that was, you know what, that really was kind of fun. And, I would have to fit it in either in the morning, during my lunch hour, or after work, and just putting the pieces together and figuring it out. And then when I did look back on my 2022 training, looking at it today versus when I was training in 2022, you're at a whole different level. And I'm wondering if you can already tell the difference from your training today in December or this week in December
Uh-huh.
versus even a month ago. You have probably really elevated in what you thought you were doing really, really well at, and you were really following the plan. And if you were to do the plan today, it's at a higher level.
Yes. Yes. So, okay, before when I was training for the 5K that was in October, I was running outside. And so all of my training and everything through the Tennessee summer, which if your friend lives here, she may tell you it's like with the heat index and of like 103 with the humidity of like 80 and 90 degrees. I mean, percent. It's like it's a lot. So I decided though that that's when I was going to start training. And so the thing about it though was I didn't focus on pace at all. I thought I didn't know, I should say. Let me actually rephrase that. I did not know about pace. And so it wasn't something that I focused on. So to me, it was more so I'm going to try and go further and further and further every day in what I can do. And so that's how I trained for that 5K. And it never like occurred to me to be like, okay, let's check paces, let's do this. I didn't know what a negative split was. And so when I was like checking my like thing, it was like negative split, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, is a negative split a good thing? And I had to like look it up because I didn't know. Whereas this time, I'm like just now starting my training for the one that's at the end of February. And I know so much more about it. It's cold outside, so I'm not really running outside right now. I have a treadmill downstairs. I also signed up for the gym so I can get some strength training in. But what I like this time is I feel like because I have learned so much more, even more after the 5K. So the 5K was part of the Seven Bridges like marathon weekend. And well, day, I guess, but it was the 5K, 10K half marathon and the full marathon. So I did the 5K and I have a friend who did the marathon the same day. And her husband is a running coach. And so after that happened, like I met him there the race day. And I don't know if any of your listeners are going to be like me and they're like plus size and trying to run and stuff. But sometimes it is like you can feel that people don't necessarily take you seriously because they're just like, oh, whatever, you're like, whatever. But he was so nice. And he actually genuinely wanted to know how my race went, how I felt during it, how I felt now, like actual like things like and I know that sounds stupid, but like he genuinely cared and was interested. And that was refreshing. So my friend connected us. So I have been able to reach out to him for like tons of questions. He actually was like, you need to slow down on trying to go faster. And he's like, you need to work on your endurance in terms of the speed that you want to be at, which is why the 1703 is my current speed that I'm trying to get longer and longer at. So my training for this one is actually a little bit more methodical, which I like. And it is so previously for the past 5K in the training, like there's so I do like couch to 5K, and there's like intervals, like run walk intervals. And so there were so many times where I would have to pause in the middle of a run interval and like catch my breath. And I have an Apple Watch, so I would like watch my heart rate go down to like a normal heart rate and then go again. Well, now I don't have to do that. So now during those runs, the run intervals, I can actually like focus on keeping that pace. And so, yeah, it's just a different experience. I think being more aware of everything and like smarter about it this time versus last time. And also, I am really proud of myself for being able to do the 1703. And, but yeah, so that's where kind of how I'm different. I will kind of like what you were saying about the coach and the nutritionist that you have. My friend also had a nutritionist for her marathon too. So I think leading up to my half, I may consult her friend and her husband again for a more official plan because I have heard there's nothing wrong with Couch 5K because obviously that's what I'm doing. But I've heard the more you go, like the higher distances, like the more not accurate the training plan could be, and people have been getting hurt. So I just want to consult, like make an actual plan sort of individualized towards me, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Yes, it absolutely does. I have like millions of things to say and ask. One of the things is as you start getting more miles, like my friends and I did, we started putting in more miles, and we're not, half marathons or, 10Ks, or we do, a 10 miler, but sometimes you start to lose toenails. And you'll
I've
see
heard. I
lots
have
of
heard.
pictures about it. The other thing that I would see, because I'm on quite a few running forums, just to get some advice, and people would say, go up in shoe size. And I always thought,
Yes.
why would I do that? I am now in a size 10, and I typically wear 7.5s. And I always had foot problems, and I always had shin splints, and I
Mm-hmm.
always had, you name it, and I had problems. Well, when I started going to bigger sized shoes, all of it went away miraculously. Now I do the heel lock. So when you're lacing your shoes, I do have a heel lock. I do have certain shoes that I really like to run in. I love my Brooks. I love my Ultras for the treadmill, the zero drop. I also wear them outside. I do rotate my shoes. And I have found ever since I went up 2 sizes in shoes, which most people would say there's no way that that's realistic. It actually is. I have not lost any toenails since then.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm super excited about that. And then on the dietitian front, I highly recommend getting a dietitian. Love my dietitian. It's not necessarily about weight loss, and we don't. I think sometimes the thought is, oh, Robin, you have two coaches. Well, you should be losing a ton of weight. Well, that's not why I
Mm-hmm.
got either one
Exactly.
of the
Right.
coaches. One was to build strength. I don't work with him any longer. I still do some of his training programs because strength is wildly important in anything that we do as ladies as we age.
Mm-hmm.
But then for the dietitian part of it, I too wanted to know how can I fuel my body better for the
Mm-hmm.
10Ks, and how can I fuel my body better for the half marathon and the Mammoth March coming up in June. And that's what she and I work on together is one, I spent most of 2025 working with her on just one, I don't drink very often. I mean, it's very rare that I drink. So the alcohol was an easy one to toss out the window. Sugar, I'm not a big sugar person, so that was another easy one. So really what we worked on was volume, because I'm more of a volume eater. So I eat decently in general. I just eat a lot of it. So
Hmm.
we worked on macros, we worked on a plan for maintenance, and now we're working on, okay, now let's add more distance. So now we're talking about 5 and 10 more miles per week. What does that look like? How can you still, maintain where you're at or lose, a small amount a week or every 2 weeks and still keep it up? So I think that's super important. I keep reading about it all the time about how important that is. The other thing, and I don't know if this is you, but it certainly was me, was I didn't like to do a lot of jumping activities because my ladies are quite large. And what I ended up doing was because my strength coach had me doing jump squats, and then I'm wearing, double the sports bras, or I'm
Hmm.
trying to jump squat with one arm holding them down and the other one trying to jump. I actually got a boob band, or basically a band that goes over the ladies, and then it holds you in and it doesn't hurt, and it's a boob strap and it's fantastic. And that has really been a game changer for me because I can go much faster and I don't have to worry about flopping all over the place. I'm sure that lots of ladies get negative comments about, oh, you really need a better bra. I've seen it on several influencers that are larger. So it looks like you run with the vest and maybe that kind of holds you in better. I don't know, but any
Yeah,
list.
so the bra that I use, okay, so I do have to say, even as a plus size lady, the my chest is smaller than like what you would think for my size. And so, which is really annoying in like dresses because the top is huge and the rest of it fits. And I'm like, "Mm." But I have found, so part of this journey too has been trying to find clothes that work because it's so frustrating. And for me, I have found that Torrid like does work really well for me, but they have these bras. It's like a long called like long line, but it has an inner shelf. And so there's like an inner part of it that is like holds you in, but then there's another part of it on top of it that holds you in. So those like I love those. I actually don't like I get so hot and sweaty, I can't stand the feel of a shirt on me. So I actually wear those like as my top and they're perfectly fine. So yeah, I love those, but they've got, yeah, it's like an inner shelf long line. So there's actually like two different parts of it. But I have other friends too that have tried to wear the two different ones. But yeah, so um yeah, I feel lucky I found those bras. But yeah, other places though, it's just like even if they say it's plus size, it's not. And I'm like there's a I was trying to explain to my friend group because I'm in this like a group of active women. It's like a group chat, it's called the Valkyries. But like I am the most plus size person there. And so trying to explain to them that extended sizes are different than plus sizes, like they don't get it. And they'll be like, oh, this comes on into an XXXL. And I'm like, that is not the same as a 3X. And so yeah, that's a whole thing. But jumping back to your thing about the shoes, my friend who was training for the marathon, I actually, before I even started running, like before I did it, I reached out to her and I said, hey, I'm thinking about trying to run. I haven't done this since like high school or middle school. Like, do you have any advice? And the first thing she said to me was, get good shoes. And so I
Mhm.
was like, okay, so we have a local shoe like running store in town. So I went there, got fitted, tried on a whole different like a bunch of different pairs of shoes, ended up with Brooks, which I love so much. And yes, so normally I wear size 11 and I actually wear 12 in those
Mhm.
because we sized up. And
Yep.
getting the right shoes, I've had other plus size people, walkers, runners, reach out to me and like messages and be like, do you have knee problems? Do you have shin splints? Do you have this problem or that problem? And I'm like, I don't. And I honest to goodness think it is because I invested in good shoes, like basically from the very beginning. And then you said
Well, it's
something after that
good
that's more.
shoes, number one. You were
Yes.
fitted number two, and
Mm-hmm.
they're bigger so your foot is able to spread the way it's
Yes.
supposed to. And that's the trick to not have the plantar's fasciata and the shin splints and your feet hurting. So it's crazy. You would think that that wouldn't be a thing, but it's a major
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're so comfortable. So yeah, I actually asked my family, they were like, what do you want for Christmas? I said, I want another pair of Brooks. And I wear the running socks, which I didn't think were important. But
Yeah,
which I mean, budget
I only
wise, you
wear
don't need
Belegas.
them. But like when I wear my normal socks versus my running socks, there's a huge difference.
Yep.
I don't get blisters,
No.
which when they fit correctly, everything, socks and shoes, it like you don't get blisters, which is really nice. At least I don't, not yet. But but
Yeah,
yeah.
I only wear Belegas. Those are the blister resistant socks.
I have the featured socks, which
Yep, I've heard
are
of those
great.
too.
Yes. I asked those for Christmas, the socks and the shoes. And they were like, you really want socks? I was like, before you like knocked me down, these were kind of like, pricey.
Hmm.
So if you
Yeah,
could gift them to me, I would appreciate it. But
yeah. And I found my socks too. I can't use smaller mediums. I
mhm,
have to have large size socks in
yep.
Belegas to go with my large size shoes, and then there's no problem.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
that's fun. Yeah. One thing too, I was going to ask you, I saw that you had gone and done a 5K. I know you haven't been to a lot of different events, but something that I've been noticing either in running events, as in street running events, or I've been to a couple of trail events this year that I had never been to previously. I'm really surprised that there are more plus size ladies and plus size men doing these events that I don't remember seeing before. Do you feel like there's a bit of a movement of people being more active?
I do. And I think, I honest to goodness, I think that social media does play a big part in it because if you can see yourself reflected in like the thing that you want to do, then I feel like it's a lot easier to be like, they can do it, I can do it. There are people on Instagram who I follow, and one man, I can't remember the names, but one of the gentlemen, he is over 300 pounds and he ran a marathon. Like he did New York City Marathon. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so my first thought was, I'm going to sign up for a marathon next year. And then I was like, hold up, you've only been running a year. And then there's like other plus size women that I follow. There's so many of them. And that also like, I don't want to be like, able to me. But I just, again, like as far as like the size that I am, I'm a 300-pound plus woman who's at the beginning of my running journey still like, this is my pace. Blah, 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 blah. And it's just so important to me to provide a space for other people who are in that same position. Um, and I talked about a little bit about this. I don't know if the video made it to Instagram. I know it's on TikTok, but I've talked on TikTok a few times about how important it is for me to document everything even now because when like a year ago before I knew like any of this was going on or that I would be where I am now is what I mean. I would try and look for accounts of people who were like my size and trying to lose weight. And there are accounts, but they've the ones that I found, they're famous and they're big because they've already not they're well known because they've already completed the journey. And so they're like, look at me, like I was able to do this, you can too. But I didn't see people that were on the journey right now at the same place that I was. And so, like, what started is me being like, okay, I want to be able to look back on these videos and like document, all this stuff. 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, kind of became there isn't a place that I can find on social media that was what I was looking for. And I know if I'm looking for it, other people are looking for it. So why don't I create that space? So I don't know. I just have fun with it. I just try and talk to people and yeah, seeing and being able to connect with other people who are also plus size, beginner. You can be a slow runner and not a beginner. Like you can be a beginner runner and also be fast. So wherever you are in your journey, like having someone that you can see and follow that is kind of where you are is really inspiring. So to see them, like there was a woman who ran the New York City Marathon that I follow. She was like 20 something weeks pregnant, like going into it. Yeah. So, I mean, like following these people and being like, okay, like they're amazing. They were able to do this. So can I. I think that has part of, I really think that that has a lot to do with a lot of people being like, there's a space for me. So let me go into that space. Or if there's not that space for you where you are, you can make that space. So,
I think so too. There is one other lady out there who's very similar to our journeys in the sense of, she too is plus size. She's trying to do better. She's trying to do strength training. She goes to the gym. She does walks. She does running. And I too have talked to her a couple of times. And I just find that I feel as if more and more that there are more plus size people who just want to be healthier and just want to get outside and do things and
yes.
be just have a better lifestyle. And I find it just so inspiring. I'm super excited.
Yes. I, you said something a while ago, and I was going to say this, and I totally forgot because my brain's like, bleh. But as far as the gym, you were talking about strength training. And for anybody that may be listening who has this type of relationship with the gym, I have a message. So I used to work out a lot and I was going to the gym a lot. This was like 2017. And I was like, I lost 40 plus pounds during that time. I mean, I was at the gym almost every day. I was doing cardio, was doing strength training, was doing all this stuff. But the relationship that I had with it at the time was you're overweight. So you need to be doing these things because you need to lose weight. So even though I was doing all these things and I was losing weight, I wasn't happy. I didn't enjoy it. I hated every minute of it. I didn't want to go to the gym, but I made myself go to the gym. Whereas now, because one, running has helped me love my body. I know that I need to strength train in order to help my body be the best that it possibly can so that I can continue running. And so now when I go to the gym, I love it. And it's a difference of, oh, I need to go to the gym because I have to go to the gym because I have to lose weight. Whereas now it's, I'm going to the gym to help my body help me. I'm going to the gym so that I can help myself achieve these goals and these dreams that I have, which yes, probably is going to result in weight loss, which would be very nice. But weight loss is not the ultimate goal. What you were saying a couple weeks ago.
No, not
My
at all.
ultimate goal right now is to strengthen my body. I have like no muscle. So I'm trying to build the muscle to do the best that I can for my body. And a lot of like again, the coach, I'm very lucky that I have a coach that I can just reach out to. I was asking um actually asked his wife because I was like, you don't really like have hips like women do. But I was like, when you're running, do you sway your hips? And she was like, so what's the point of you swaying your hips? And I was like, it just makes my back feel better. And she's like, what part? And I was like, my lower back. And she was like, you need core muscles. And I was like, oh, I don't have any of those. So that kind of led to this whole like gym process. But it's like, even if I wasn't running, like strengthening my body and treating it well would still be important, exactly like what you were saying. So I just hope that if anybody else is sort of like teetering at the beginning of this journey, or maybe they're doing it like I was in the past, which was not like the healthiest mindset, like, I don't know, just finding something, even if it's not running, it could be walking on the trails. Getting out in nature, hearing that crunching of the sticks and the dirt under your feet sometimes is the absolute medicine that you need to make your day better. And I just like, if you find whatever it is, trail running, trail walking, bike riding, swimming, I don't know, but like that thing that makes you fall in love with your body, and you're going to start treating your body so much better than you were. And yeah, I don't know. It's a completely different relationship and mindset with being healthy now versus being healthy before. I will say, like, for me personally, going on a GLP-1 has allowed me to heal my relationship with food as well. So, fueling my body correctly, exactly what you were saying, making sure that I have electrolytes and I have the supplements that I need, everything sort of all ties together into treating my body the way that it needs to be treated so that it can help me accomplish goals that I want and keep living my best life.
Yeah, I feel that all of our journeys are different, but they're also the same.
Yes.
I hear people all the time say, "What plan are you using?" Well, your plan might not work for me, and my plan might not work for you,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
but we might want to look at different plans together to see what would be the best. And I feel as if nutrition falls into that too. What might be a great pre-run meal for you might not work for me, or a post-workout meal, making sure you get in protein, however you do that. So I feel as if just with all of my 29029 friends and talking through, the past 3 years, 4 years on how we're doing all of this, I feel like the more information we have, the better, and we can all experiment and try, sip, sip, sip on water instead of, guzzling down a can of Coke or guzzling down, a bottle of water or sipping it. And what way is your stomach going to take in those nutrients on your 10Ks and your half marathons or the Mammoth March, the 20 miler? How does your body react to that? And that was something that took me a really long time to figure out, was that I just needed to gather all the information and then I had to test it and test
mm-hmm.
it and test it and test it. It's a really, really long journey, but I absolutely love it. I am so glad that I saw your post on there so that we can compare notes on things. I'm going to switch though. Well, before I switch, I will say, you had made a comment on one of your Instagram reels about uh, building habits in your 30s, or you never thought you would be doing this in your 30s. I can say I never thought I'd be doing this in my 50s. I'm 56, and I never thought in a million years I would be doing this. You could never convince me that I look forward to getting on my treadmill. And the
Mm-hmm.
one thing I too am going to backtrack and say, the one thing that I've really enjoyed is I have a Nordic Track treadmill, which has iFit. And so there's one trainer on there. His name is Tommy Ribs, and he does the joy of running. And what he does is, let's say we have the treadmill on 3.0, which is a 20-minute mile. And what he's been teaching me is it's the process of you keep the speed the same you keep the speed the same throughout the entire workout, and you start introducing what he calls bouncy walks. And so then you start doing the motion of running, but you're still at the same speed. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, that was a complete game changer to realize that I needed to build up to what I was doing. And now that I've built that up since, basically October, more or less, I'm like, oh, no wonder so many people start a running program, Couch to 5K, for example, and don't finish it because they don't get the basics and the base
Mm-hmm.
of what they need. And the other day, yesterday it was, I did a run and I do intervals, and I was so proud of myself. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. and you really just need to get the basics down. So I
Mhm.
don't care if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you can do it and
Yes.
start slow. It's not something that most people can just jump into.
Yeah. And I always am aware too of trying not to overdo it because I don't want to hurt myself and then not be able to train and then like derail everything.
Yeah, yeah. I do want to switch though while we still have a few minutes left is your books. And that's the other thing that really sparked my interest because I love books. And I saw a couple of my favorites on your page. I loved Iron Flame, Fourth Wing, the first
Yeah.
one, and then Iron Flame. Not a big fan of Onyx Storm, but
Oh,
yeah,
Onyx Storm was my favorite of the three so far, actually. It's Onyx Storm, Fourth Wing, and then Iron Flame.
I don't get it, but okay. And then I also saw the ACOTAR series, and
Yes.
feel like I'm on the third book right now.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. If you're on the third book, you are like in for it. Yeah. I love those books. My favorite, like Sarah J. Maas. Actually, my favorite fantasy series, like kind of tied with Lord of the Rings, is Throne of Glass. And that's what like one of my tattoos is for. And then this one is for a book called Night Render. And then I think that's it for now. I do have like a whole like arm and everything, like not sleeve, but like more little places on my arm. But yeah, I love Throne of Glass, so you'll have to try that next. But yeah, I started the book blogging in 2011. And so then I kind of in like 2017 I started a new job and I couldn't do it as much. And then when I came back to it, it had made the shift from like website blogs to Instagram. And so at first I was like, oh gosh, like I do not take pretty photos of books. Like, how am I going to do this? And then I just realized that you really don't have to overcomplicate it. Like, it literally half my photos are like me holding a book in front of my bookshelf and just like chatting about the books that I love. So, yeah, a lot of times if I'm on my walk, not my runs so much because I still need the music to help keep me going, but on my walks, I listen to audiobooks and I love it, especially like just getting outside and like beautiful scenery and just having a book, like a book. I don't know, there's something about it. I just love it so much. But yeah, so I was able to read a lot of audiobooks this summer. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love it. I go outside on my walks at lunch and I'll have my audiobook going, and I typically only do one earbud so I can hear traffic or anything else. But yeah, sometimes it's nice. Like, yes, I'm outside and I'm enjoying nature, but sometimes I like the entertainment of a book and it
Mhm.
keeps me going and it keeps me walking longer sometimes.
Yes, it's just so relaxing. I actually another so like they say like you don't have to invest in a lot of running things, which you don't. But I did invest in the vest that you were talking about with the hydration pack.
Yeah.
And a quick note on that. Um, I see on Instagram, not so much on TikTok, but on Instagram all the time where people are like, you don't need a vest for a 5K. And listen, I'm out there for an hour minimum
Hmm.
on these things. I need water.
Hmm.
So what you were saying about like how we can take bits and pieces of what other people say, but we have to figure it out for ourselves. Yeah. So the vest stays. And then I got the shoes. And then the other thing I invested in were those like open ear things so I can hear my surroundings. So that's what I listen to on my audiobooks. So yeah, I invested in those. So I just listen and walk and can hear. And although one time I had the canceling, this is like the last time I wore these, and I was on the trail, like in the woods, and I was like la 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 la, and a trail runner came up behind like on my side, but I hadn't heard him. And so like I jumped back and like screamed, and then he like nearly fell off the trail. And I was like, yeah, so I'm gonna get those open ear ones so that this does not happen again.
Yes, that's a good idea. Do you have any trail events planned for this upcoming year in 26?
I don't. So I will admit the actual running like on a trail, It does still freak me out because I'm like, I don't want to fall. And if you like follow me for a while, you will know that I tend to fall a lot. Like I fell off the trail. I fell off the trail into a ditch on at the end of September and had this like huge bruise all over my leg. So I'm just scared like if I try to run like where there's like leaves and sticks and rocks and stuff like you were saying that I would like fall on my face or something or break a knee.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's an event called the Mammoth March, and they have it in different states, and there is one in Tennessee. And I was actually thinking of going down there this year. I don't know, or 26, I don't know. But if we can convince you to do a trail walk or run, and if I come down there, we'll definitely go out for a walk or just a
Yes.
light run on the trail.
Oh my gosh, yes, that would be fun. I'll have to look into it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they're a lot of fun, a lot of people. It's not it's not a race, I would say that, which for me makes it more enjoyable. It's yeah, you do have to get done in 8 hours, and they do have cutoffs at different aid stations. They have shuttle buses at 5, 10, 12, and 15 miles. So people that do it just for fun and then just say at 5 miles, yeah, I'm good. Or I saw a
Oh, that is
lot of
nice.
people get
Okay.
on the shuttle bus at 10 miles. A lot of people. And I thought to myself, I think I talked about this on one of my podcasts. Should I get on the shuttle? And I was like, no, you can get at least 5 more miles in. And I did. But yeah, I think the Mammoth Marches are a lot of fun. And if you're interested, you can come on up to Wisconsin because there's a bunch of us that are doing it on a Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it like cold though? Like when you visit?
No, not in June. Uh-uh.
Oh, June? Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
The end of June. Yeah. No, it's beautiful. Beautiful in Wisconsin.
Hmm.
So,
I bet that I think I'm gonna look into that because if you're not expected to like race on the trail,
no,
it might be something that's really fun to do. Yeah.
I think you should. We'll talk offline after the
Yes.
podcast and see if I can't con you into coming up here.
Hmm.
All right. Anything else that you want to let our listeners know that we haven't talked about yet?
Oh, we pretty much talked about any like everything, but yeah, I mean, if you are sitting there thinking to yourself, and again, it could be anything, and you're like, I don't know, like, I don't know if I can move my body like that. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do that. If you like just try it. I don't think you will regret it.
That's definitely what I would say too. And it does not matter what age you are either. It doesn't
Right.
matter if you're in your 50s and you want to start something new, do it. If it's a painting class, if it's a cooking class, if it's just
Hmm.
getting outside and walking with other ladies or other guys, you just do it.
Yes. Like the
Agreed.
Nike, what's the Nike tagline thing? Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you. I feel like I know you from watching your Instagram reels, and it's even better to meet you in person.
Yes, it was a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. To all of my listeners, stay awesome and keep reaching for your anything.